So there are 1.7 million unvaccinated children in India, and this accounts for the largest number of unvaccinated children all over the world. The average vaccination coverage is only 65%, which is lower than even less economically developed countries than India. And to put it in terms of actual impact, there are 1 in 150 children below 5 die each year in India due to preventable deaths. And this accounts for more than half of the total number of deaths under 5 in India. So we can see how large the problem is. And the main cause of this problem is that parents forget to vaccinate their children on time. And for this simple reason, there are so many deaths and there are so many children being disabled for life. Here's a depiction of how it varies between different economic strata. So even in the highest strata, there's only an 80% vaccination coverage, and there's scope for improvement throughout the whole chain. So even the lowest strata, it's only 25%. So here's our largest market, but how we do it is we have two different business models that cater to both the lowest streams and the highest streams. So our solution is a very simple application of SMS and telecalling reminders to help solve this problem. So how it works is whenever a child is born in any of our partnered hospitals, we register the child onto our database. And from then on, we use SMS and telecalling to continually remind the parents of when their child is due to the hospital and to get them vaccinated. And this continues from ages 0 to age 5. And at age 5, if the parent brings their child whenever they are reminded to, their child will be fully immunized and fully healthy. So we have two main target customers. One is private hospitals and the other is corporate companies. So for private hospitals, what we do is once we partner with the private hospitals, our main aim is to bring back the customers. So whenever a baby goes for their first vaccination, we try to bring back the same child when they're for their last immunization. So we're sort of bringing back the same customer back to the private hospital, and that's the service we're giving them. For corporate companies, we're an opportunity for them. We're a CSR opportunity for these corporate companies, and we're trying to use corporate companies as a way to help those lower economic strata, while the private hospitals is for the higher economic strata. Our business model is different for both. So for public healthcare centers, which is the lower economic strata, we're using sponsorship driven by these larger companies, and our revenue will be a percentage of the CSR fund. And we will also be analyzing and giving the data back to the company for them to publish and validate their claims on what they're doing for their corporate social responsibility. For private hospitals, we have a lead generation model wherein as we continually remind the parents, we're bringing back the customers to them. We're giving leads to customers to go back to the hospitals, and we'll be charging based on leads. So right now we're in talks with around 3 to 4 hospitals, and we're aiming at around 10 hospitals in our first year. So right now what we're really focusing on doing is building partnerships. So we're trying to partner with as many corporate companies, as many private hospitals, and as many public healthcare centers as we can. And by doing this, we trying to go up to scale where we can start automating calls and make the process much more smoother and more efficient. That's it. Thank you.
Any questions from audience? Yeah, please.
How big is your team and how far in the execution process are you?
It just started, so it's mainly been just me. I've been going to hospitals and talking to them, and my mom has helped me in the technological development of the application.
Can I just
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Very great pitch, right on time, very clear. I liked it a lot. Keep going.
Yeah, I just want to say that when I was in high school, I wasn't as great as you. Well done.
And the next thing innovator is Chandrasekhar.